Welcome to Nightique. I'm Edward St. Pé. Well, for tonight's show, we visit with another of the great musicians here in the capital city, Mr. Lonné George, and he's got a long history of performance in the jazz arena, and we're going to meet him and hear his performance coming up next.
Since 1849, Carter Jewelers has been a part of Jackson's rich history. Over 163 years later, we've not only survived, Carter Jewelers has flourished. From generation to generation, we've established a tradition of excellence. Our reputation is built on customer satisfaction, service, and trust. Every piece of jewelry is hand-picked, so you know you're getting the best value.
Nobody says I do like we do at Carter Jewelers.
Come see us and be part of our history.
Welcome to Nightique, our program tonight. One of the great guitarists from Jackson, Mr. Lonné George. And Lonné, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me on the show.
You have been a guitarist for how many years?
50 plus years.
50 plus years.
Yeah.
So tell us about your journey. Have you always been a jazz person, or have you done other things like rhythm and blues and such?
It started with gospel. Grew up in a gospel family. My mother, she sort of played piano and sang. So I kind of got attached to that, but I wasn't really interested in the piano. It was something else bugging me. So found out it was the guitar. So eventually I got hooked on the guitar, and my brothers had a gospel group called a quartet, and they was doing gospel. And so one day my mother finally convinced them to allow me to take part, which they was totally against. So I finally started singing with them, and as I was learning to play, they figured I could play at least one or two chords so I could accompany them with the guitar. So that's kind of how it started.
Is gospel sort of the fountainhead of all the other music, rhythm and blues, and then later rock and roll? Does it all start with gospel and then it goes from there, or do I have it backwards? Is it blues first?
I don't know. I don't know. You know, gospel and blues sort of have the feel, the foundation. Mm-hmm. Seems like you got the foundation. Mm-hmm. A lot of your rhythm blues singers, soul singers, they came out of the church. Mm-hmm. And so they had that soul, you call it. Mm-hmm. And so
that's a perfect word, soul. Right?
Yeah,
that's where it comes from,
right
there. Soul,
right. So feel, you know,
right.
certain feel for
right, right,
yeah.
Right.
And they generally all had that, you know, and and basically that's where I came from.
Yeah, you know, because it's sort of the same. It's sort of the same thing. I mean, whether you going into an emotional, if you're spiritually awakened, or if you're romantically awakened, or you know, whatever, you know what I mean.
Right.
The inspiration's coming from the same place, the soul, you know,
right,
in seeking expression, sort
exactly,
of, right? Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So that's kind of how it developed, you know, and it went on from there. I went to the James Brown, you know, even did some Coco Taylor stuff, because at one time, when I was younger, I used to sing first tenor or sometime mild alto. So I had a real high voice for some reason. And over the years, it kind of put me down, you know.
So you evolved from gospel and into what, rhythm and blues and then jazz?
Yeah, yeah. It was rock and roll, then blues, and then a little jazz. And it always with this cycle, you know.
How would you define your playing today? I mean, what is it that you enjoy doing the most?
I love blues because I have a pretty close identification with it. But I like variety. I like to play jazz because of the way it's just mellow.
Now you said
to
you
me.
had you identified with blues.
Yeah.
Okay, would you explain what you mean by that?
When I first started learning how to play the guitar, we had old 78s and eventually 45 records. And that's the only thing I had available to me. So when my uncle, who was a sort of a front porch guitar player, he would bring me a record maybe once or twice a year. And I could play it on my mother's phonograph, and it happened to be blues. So my learning and learning how to get a similar sound of what I heard was about blues. So I think my music is sort of the foundation of is the blues.
Now back in those days when you first started to play, were there a lot of white folks who were listening to blues, or was it mostly black folks listening to blues?
I think it was more of a black culture thing.
At what point did it cross over? Did you remember?
It seemed, well, I don't know if I recall exactly when it was, but it seemed like the blues was big, maybe in the 50s and the 60s. It seemed like it was up there. And then rock and roll came in, and soul, Motown. And it's sort of like, it's like it replaced it. And so, especially a lot of blacks, it seemed like that they forgot about the blues. And a lot of blues players seemed like they disappeared. Besides some like, you know, BB and so forth.
Right.
They hung in there. And then it seemed it turned around at some point. And it came back to where here's a legacy. We are catching on to this. And then it was more diversity in blues. It didn't come back just blacks. It came back, I think, with a pretty big diversity.
I remember when I was in Baton Rouge at Channel 9 back in the 80s doing weather, when I first started, you know, there was a place called Tabby's Blues Box. And Tabby Thomas was the blues king in Baton Rouge. And we used to go there. I did a story on him, you know, a news story, but I knew him, and his son is Chris Thomas King, who is famous today.
Yeah.
When I did that story, believe it or not, Chris Thomas was about that tall, his son, and he was in the story. I was talking to Tabby, and Tabby was really a great blues guitar player. What I was going to say is most of the people in the place were white kids from LSU.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But so Tabby was a famous blues man. His son, Chris, became Chris Thomas King today. And I saw Chris at the film festival a few years ago, and we had sort of the first time we saw each other since I did that story when he was a little boy.
Yeah.
He said, man, when you did that story and I saw it on television, I saw my dad playing. He said, that's when I knew I was going to be a famous guitar player, and I was going to, you know, do my own
Really?
thing. Yeah, he
That's
told
amazing.
me. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
It's amazing. So we had the sort of like and I hadn't seen him since he was a little boy.
Yeah.
And now he's all over the radio. He's one of the most, I guess, one of the most famous new young blues players out there today.
Yeah.
But that's something.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was the Tabby's Blues Box. The kids were all white kids from LSU. And there were also black folks there too, but you know, that's when I realized that the younger generation discovered blues.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
You know, they really had. And
Right.
even at the Subway Lounge here, there were always a lot of white young folks in there.
Yeah, it's last, I don't know how long, but I think a lot of whites loved the blues way back.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just as well known.
Right.
I that's what I believe.
I think you're right.
Because I think they've been on the blues for quite a while.
Yeah.
You know.
They just maybe they didn't show it.
Right.
It was sort of like back in those days. I think they call it race music, right?
Yeah.
And so you know what I mean. It was like there was some separation. People might have enjoyed it, but they couldn't express it.
Right. They couldn't let anybody know.
They couldn't let anybody know. Yeah.
I think that's the way it was.
I think it's the way it was.
Yeah.
You know, today on our show you're going to play for us.
Yes.
And I think you have an accompanist, a bass player with you today.
Oh yeah, well-known bass player.
Who is it?
Nellie Mack. And I think that
you mean the
Nellie Mack.
The Nellie Mack, the female
Nellie
bass
Mack.
player.
Yes, female.
Well, she's been on the show before.
Oh yeah.
In fact, she rocked it down on that occasion. I remember.
She does that quite well. You know?
She was, she really was. She was rocking on that show.
Oh yeah.
So what are y'all going to do today?
We're gonna do some mild stuff, maybe because it's just her and I.
Right.
And we get together often and do some, some laid back shows, just the two of us. And so we're gonna do something that'll hopefully be enjoyable.
So now, I know you've traveled with throughout the years.
Right.
Give us an example. You were in the military and you played while you were in the military
Right.
many years ago. Bob Hope
Right.
Show, some of those things.
Right. I was in Thailand, the Philippines, back in '68, '69. And they had USO shows that used to come, entertain the troops in Vietnam. I was in Vietnam for about a month on what they call TDY, temporary duty, and we had a marching band on base over there, and they sort of allowed us to get involved with music, although that wasn't a primary thing that they wanted you to concentrate on, but they allowed us to do it. So we was able to play on a few of the shows that came over. I went to the Philippines and did some broadcasting with the on-base DJ there in connection with some of the entertainment.
Now today, tell us, is there a mechanism? I know you play professionally around the area.
Mm-hmm.
If someone wants to track down how to get in touch with Lonné George for a concert or whatever the event might be, how do they do that?
They might go through Peggy. I'm trying to think of the
Hit the Road Entertainment?
Hit the Road Entertainment.
There we
Yes,
go.
Hit the Road Entertainment.
So Hit the Road Entertainment is your agent, your booking agent and such.
She's my primary contact.
Right.
Yes.
So good.
My
Okay.
primary
Well,
contact.
good. Well, that's where you go. Google it. Hit the Road Entertainment, and we'll have more information on that, and we'll put that web address on the screen before we go. Okay. We are happy to have you with us tonight. And are you going to do jazz for us tonight?
A little bit of jazz, a little bit of blues, and something kind of laid back.
Okay,
maybe
good.
a couple, 2 or 3 songs.
Well, thank you for taking time to be with us
My
tonight.
pleasure.
And we'll be back with Mr.
Thank
Lonné
you.
George and Miss Nellie back on bass after these important messages. Stay with us.
I'm Dr. Quinn, and I believe in the power of exercise. Many patients ask me if they're going to get high blood pressure or diabetes because their parents had these conditions. I tell them that we cannot control our genetics, but we can control our diet and level of exercise. Practicing healthy decisions result in a better outcome. I'm Dr. Quinn, and I want you to remember that you have control.
When you are looking to further your education, there's only one university that towers above the rest, Jackson State University. Jackson State University is one of the leading universities in research, technology, and innovation, graduating more than 1,300 students annually and a consistent growth in revenue. Jackson State University is ranked #1 amongst the HBCUs in research and development. Make the right choice, the one choice, one Jackson State University, changing lives one student at a time.
They call it Stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad. They call it Stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad. Wednesday's worse, and Thursday is also sad. The eagle flies on Friday, and Saturday I go out to play. The eagle flies on Friday, and Saturday I go out to play. Sunday I go to church, and I get on my knees and pray. I cry, Lord, Lord have mercy. Won't you please have mercy on me? Please have mercy, baby. Won't you please have mercy on me? Won't you help me find my baby? Whoa, help him, bring her home to me. Have mercy. Won't you please have mercy on me? Please have mercy. Won't you please have mercy on me? Won't you help me find my baby? Whoa, help her, bring her home to me.
Since 1849, Carter Jewelers has been a part of Jackson's rich history. Over 163 years later, we've not only survived, Carter Jewelers has flourished. From generation to generation, we've established a tradition of excellence. Our reputation is built on customer satisfaction, service, and trust. Every piece of jewelry is handpicked, so you know you're getting the best value.
Nobody says I do like we do at Carter Jewelers.
Come see us and be part of our history.
Everybody wanna know why I sing the blues. Everybody wanna know why I sing the blues. Well, I've been around a long time, and I really paid my dues. Well, I first got the blues, came over on a ship, had batsman standing over me, more with a whip, and I ask you now why I sing the blues. Well, I've been around a long time, and I really paid my dues. Listen to me now. I stayed in the ghetto flat, cold and numb. I heard the rat tell the bed bugs, give the roaches some. I got the blues, gotta sing my blues. Well, I've been around a long time, and I really paid my dues. I'm gonna try to play the blues for you. Nature catching up with me, gone is my youth. I sit around all day long, wondering what am I gonna do but sing the blues. Ooh, I got my blues. Well, I got it written a long time, and I really paid my dues. Blind man standing on the corner, begging for a dime. The jester, they came along and arrested him for a crime. I got the blues, gotta sing my blues. Well, I've been around a long time, and I really paid my dues. Just when you played them.
Attention! If you currently wear eyeglasses or contact lenses, stay tuned for an important message. Are you tired or frustrated with bothersome eyeglasses and contact lenses? If you answered yes, then LASIK might be just what you're looking for. And at the LASIK Vision Institute, our LASIK procedures now start at just $2.99 per eye. The LASIK Vision Institute's nationwide network of eye surgery centers offer the most comprehensive, reliable, and affordable vision improvement services available. With over 900,000 procedures performed since 1999, our independent surgeons are changing the way people just like you see the world. Call now to talk to a LASIK Vision Institute counselor and schedule a free evaluation. A $200 value, free. And for a limited time, LASIK procedures start at just $2.99 per eye. Plus, be sure to ask about our 0% interest finance programs.
Call 1-800-279-4907. 1-800-279-4907.
Well, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to come tonight on the program.
Well, thank you for
inviting me. And you're welcome to come back anytime. We want to have you and Miss Nellie Mack and all of the great musicians that we have right in our midst. And we've had a number of them here on the show in these last months, you know.
Well, that's good.
It's wonderful, I think, for people out there at home in Jackson to find out that some of the great artists we have here who are known all across the world and across the country, and that caliber of entertainer is right here.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of folks didn't know. You know.
That's true.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's part of our mission. You know, and so we want to thank you for being on the show, and we want to have you back soon. Okay.
Pleasure. Be my pleasure.
You know, this show and other shows that we've done over the last months are on the internet. They're archived on our website, so you can go there and you can click on whatever show you want to see, and you can see the whole show in its entirety. And that's Nightique.com. It's NIGHTIQUE.com, and you can see the various shows. And after the show airs on the air, then we post it on the website. And here's an interesting thing. Those shows are getting hits via that internet site from all over the world. They really are. He tracks it. Brandon, our director, tracks it, and we're getting hits from Europe, Asia, the Middle East, many points around the globe. And I attribute it to the fact that we have these great musicians on the air. I think that's why, because it's the one thing that we do. I think that for sure is an internationally acclaimed product, and they want to see that. And if they Google something to do with blues or whatever, if we pop up in their search, they're coming here and they're gonna look at the show on the internet. You know.
Well, that's fantastic.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
It's really amazing.
I love it.
It's amazing what's happening out there with technology.
Yeah.
So thank you,
Big
Mr.
improvement.
Lonné.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll have you back soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nightique.